Hey, what's up guys, TotallyDubbed here, and today I'm doing a video review on the Cooler Master MasterKeys MK750. Now, if it wasn't already obvious, this is a fully RGB mechanical gaming keyboard. The key switches it comes with are MX Brown, MX Red, and MX Blue. So those are cherry MX switches. The one in front of me right now, or the one in front of you guys as well, is the cherry MX Brown. Now, in terms of pricing, this can be found for around £112 in the UK. In the US, it can be found for around $140. Now, in terms of its competitors, it's not short of them. It's got the HyperX Alloy Elite RGB, it's got the Corsair K70 Lux, the Razer Black Widow, and even the wireless Logitech G613, all of which I'll link in description below, and some of them I've got full reviews on my YouTube channel as well, so be sure to check them out. But this is going to be reviewed at around the £112 price tag, and given its competitors, I'm going to be looking at missing features or things it has over its competitors. Now, first of all, build quality. Now, I like the fact that it's got a removable with a magnetic strip wrist rest. It's got a nice soft pad to it. It's not plasticky. It has a lot of flex to it, but that's to be expected from a little wrist rest. The keyboard itself has a removable USB-C cable, and that's pretty rare to find actually, because most of them come with micro USB connectors or are hardwired in, which means that you can't remove the cable. I also like the cable routing over here, and the cable itself is around, I would say, 2 meters long, or 1.8 something meters long. Has got good cable routing and is fully braided. So good job there from Cooler Master. Now, in terms of the keyboard's build quality, it has an aluminium frame at the front. However, it's got plastic at the back. Therefore, it feels quite light when you pick it up, which is great for portability. But when it comes to keyboard flex, it does suffer a little bit from keyboard flex. That means when you're trying to twist it. Now, that will only affect people who are very heavy typists. Other than that, people who are going to be tapping hard or gaming or things like that won't be affected by this, from what I've mentioned. Now, the keyboard does come with a key puller, which is great to see, and some pink keycaps. You've got WASD and exit, and also you've got the arrow keys. Now, in terms of the keycaps themselves, both the pink ones and the normal black ones are very light. They're not very, I wouldn't say they're extremely, well, they're not double shot ABS keycaps, but nevertheless they're decent enough, and they don't have any sort of wobble when it comes on the key switches themselves. So no sort of complaints there, but in terms of longevity, we'll have to see. But normally keycaps like this don't really last that long. They don't stand the test of time, but nevertheless that is just my pre-assumptions rather than knowledge of these certain keycaps that Cooler Master provides. Now, the key caps obviously have got they're sort of see-through, and that's to be expected with the RGB lighting in the background. Now, if I'm just going to quickly switch off the RGB lights via the software, you'll be able to see over here that the key switches are MX Brown. So I just wanted to prove that to you guys, just in case you were wondering. But anyway. Now, the cool thing about this MK750 is the fact that you don't need any software. Now, I just said to you guys, I turned off the LEDs via software, and that's because it's optional. You can have a software included. However, if you don't want software included, you can do pretty much everything that you'd want via the FN plus F1 to F12 keys. Now, that includes changing the LED cycle. That also involves changing the brightness. So just re-enabling it via the software, you'll be able to see over here, I can quickly change it. Now, different profiles, you've got a wide variety of different options that you can choose from. Cooler Master provide a nice little handy little leaflet over here, which gives you like sort of combinations of things that you can do and you can try. I must say I'm very impressed getting out of the box. I didn't have to fiddle around with software to get it working in order to have the right RGB lights that I like. But nevertheless, the software is a good inclusion. I'm just going to show you this on the PC. So here you can see the software. So you've got the LED cycle and you've got the different LED modules. For example, the rainbow wave, which I'm going to leave out in a moment. You can change the direction of it. You can also set yourself custom macros, which I haven't set myself. You can even remap every single individual key, which is fantastic. It also picks up the correct layout. So this is a UK layout keyboard with the big enter key and the smaller shift key. So if you're in the US, you might see this a bit different, or if you're in France, you'll have a different thing. And then you've also got 4 separate profiles you can choose from. Now the software is very intuitive, very easy to use, and works as you would expect, pretty flawlessly, and doesn't consume too much RAM, so no complaints there. So in terms of going back to the keyboard itself, let's talk about the performance. Now the performance of the keyboard is fantastic, simply because it's got Cherry MX switches inside, and thanks to its a pretty sturdy build quality, and even though it's got a plastic base, the keyboard feels great to type on. So I'm just going to go on, let's say, reactive fade, and then just do some typing and go quiet while I do that. So a little quick demo there in terms of how it sounds. You can hear that there's no sort of like a weird springy noises that occur. Some mechanical keyboards have that problem. The key switches don't, the key switches, or the key cap, shall I say, don't move on the key switches. Some of them have wobble. This is not the case with this keyboard. And in terms of how it sounds perfectly fine. There's no, again, not springy sound as well, or springy feeling, but there's no sort of weird bouncing noise that some mechanical keyboards have. So in all honesty, in terms of performance, I've got absolutely no complaints. It's got everything that you'd want. It's got the Cherry MX switches and a decent build quality to go with it. Now in terms of macro keys, as I said before, you can customize it via the software, but you've also got, well, non-macro keys, but you've got volume adjustment and 4 dedicated media keys over here, which are quite useful to have. However, you might notice there is no dedicated macro keys, and this is something I would like to point out, because its competitors, for example, the Alloy, the HyperX Alloy Elite RGB, I don't know what's going on with me today, but nevertheless, that has that also doesn't have dedicated macro keys. However, it has a actual volume wheel, which some might prefer, whereas the Corsair K70 Lux again doesn't have it. However, the K90 does. The Razer Black Widow again doesn't have it, but it's a very small form factor, whilst the Logitech G613 keyboard has dedicated macro keys. So it's a bit of it's a bit about looking at what its competitors offer and what this one doesn't. It's personal and subjective, I would say, but in all honesty, if I was going to choose a keyboard at around the £100 price tag, I'd opt for the HyperX keyboard. However, I really like the wrist rest that's included with the Cooler Master keyboard. It's a lot softer and a lot nicer. Yes, the keyboard isn't as well built, but it has a very nice feel to it with its wrist rest. If I compare it to the K70 Lux, in my opinion, I would choose this over the K70 Lux, again, because of its wrist rest. So it is a very good keyboard. It's not perfect, to say the least, and neither are its rivals. However, if you ask me, would I buy this? Absolutely. I would go out there and recommend this keyboard to anyone who's looking for a premium gaming mechanical keyboard. And given the fact that it comes with Cherry MX reds, browns or blues, it will suit to all sorts of people. People who are typing, people who are like gaming, and people who are like myself in between both, who type and also game. So there we go, guys. That's basically been my opinion about the keyboard. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I've showcased the keyboard enough for you. If you've got any questions, make sure you pop them in the comments below. I'll try and help out if I can, but I read all my comments, so just bear that in mind. Other than that, make sure you give it a like, comment, subscribe. Always helps the channel grow. Favorite and share, all that good stuff. And also, I would love to hear your opinions about this keyboard or your actual keyboard. What do you use as a daily driver? So there we go, guys. I've been Totally Dubbed. Take care and bye-bye.